What's up everybody, and welcome to another edition of AGR's Pop Culture Reviews. Now, in spite of the fact that the new Ninja Turtles movie was a complete train wreck and universally panned by critics, it doesn't mean that the license has not been at an all-time high in terms of popularity. As a matter of fact, I've seen a lot of manufacturers want to get into the business of making Ninja Turtles figures. Now, we've already reviewed the 1/4 scale NECA figure Donatello, and we've also reviewed Mondo's 1/6 scale Leonardo figure, and today we have something very special. DreamEx is actually getting into this game as well, so today we're going to be taking a look at the 1/6 scale DreamEx version of Raphael. Let's take a closer look. Now, next to Leonardo, Raphael was absolutely one of my favorite turtles, especially when I saw him on the big screen. One of the reasons is that he was kind of a jerk and really had an attitude, and I don't know, I really think that separated him from the rest of the turtles. And also, if you noticed in the 1990 film, yes, I got the 1990 right this time, they really focused on Raphael and kind of the internal turmoil he was going through, and really is the one turtle that has the most arc. Back in the early 2000s, the Ninja Turtles saw a bit of a revival, and in 2003 it spawned a whole new series based off of the original. Now, a lot of people attributed to the change in the way the Turtles looked as to them growing up and no longer being teenagers, but it was a very big departure. I personally think that the Turtles were drawn in a way so that they looked like they were on steroids. Nevertheless, fans bought the new premise and they actually liked it more than ever, and it spawned a whole new generation of fans. It really goes without saying, but the design and sculpt of these turtles are heavily influenced on that 2003 series. The head sculpt on this figure is actually very unique, and the little imperfections you find throughout give it another layer of realism. The shading was done really well, and if you'll notice on the top of the head there is a little bit of texturing. Although the bandana that covers the eyes is sculpted, it still looks very organic. I love those whited out eyes, and rounding out the overall cool factor is that aggressive grin. You know, it's really weird because one of the things that actually really initially bothered me about the figure was in the color of the pads and the bandana, but for some reason on camera it actually looks red, because in real life it looked a little bit orange. Maybe it was just the lighting. In any event, I actually like that they used fabric here. The forearm and upper biceps are incredibly well sculpted and very detailed. I especially like the textures and the little veins that you see. Subtle details like that just make it look really anatomically correct. If I had to describe this line in a few words, it would definitely be premium quality. These are actually a lot higher end figures in my opinion. I love the attention to detail here, especially in his belt buckle and the straps. That R for Raphael looks great offset against the gunmetal and the black. The pouches here are also very high quality, the stitching is excellent, and one of the great things about them as well is that they're fully functional and you can open and close them with Velcro. Now, take a look at the legs, guys. They are awesome looking, and this is one of the reasons that the Turtles have been accused of using steroids. Take a look at the detail in the quad muscles. Look at those freaking veins, for crying out loud. They look absolutely amazing. Of course, they're not in line with what the original Turtles look like, but I think they're cool nonetheless. Basically, these are really bodybuilding turtles. Make lots of gains at the gym. Now, this is one of several aspects that I kind of don't like about the figure, and it's definitely in the feet. I mean, they just look a little bit weird, especially with the articulation point in the toes. It's very noticeable, and it kind of throws off the illusion. Although I do like the bandanas around the ankles, they just look cool, and they remind me of a Muay Thai fighter. And speaking of bandanas, it's actually really cool. I know I mentioned that the one that was on his head is sculpted, but behind his head it is completely made out of fabric, and it does have a wire running through it, so you can get those kind of dynamic flowing in the wind poses. The color was matched just right to the rest of the figure, and it looks freaking awesome. Now, if you guys recall from my NECA review, you remember how much I absolutely raved about that turtle shell? Well guys, this one even eclipses the NECA one. This is absolutely amazing, and you know what, I think maybe on my next review, if I can do this, no promises guys, I'm gonna get an actual turtle shell and compare it to the next figure, which is gonna be Leonardo, because this thing looks absolutely amazing. It looks so organic. I mean, it looks like an actual turtle shell. I don't know how else to say it. Now here's the other major issue that I have with this figure. It's definitely in the stand. Now it comes with the standard crotch grabber, which is not a big deal because you can't even see it, but the stand is way too small for this figure, and if you were to do a wide stance, the feet wouldn't actually even fit on the stand. The other problem is, you see where it says Raphael there? Well, that thing is not tied to the base in any way. it's neither magnetic or nothing, and it just flops around. I think this was a really big misstep. They should have put a wedge in there so that doesn't flop around. Now, one thing I cannot complain about with this figure and really turns it over for me is definitely in his weapons. Those sides are outstanding. One of the reasons that they don't look cheap is because they're not. That's actual metal and they feel very dense. And to go even further than that, it's actually a high polished chrome. Take a look at the detail in the actual grip. Look at that. That is amazing. Overall, this just really makes the figure for me, and that's why I say this is very premium quality work. The other great thing about these figures is that they give you an incredible amount of accessories. What I found pretty interesting is that they give you an extra set of arms. Now these arms are molded together as if he's crossing his arms across his chest, which gives it a pretty badass stance. The only thing that I found a little bit jarring about these arm attachments is that they're completely molded. So things like the pads and the wristbands are not mixed media, which makes it a little bit weird for the rest of the figure. You also get 2 pairs of shurikens, or Japanese throwing star. Now, very similar to the size, these are very high quality, dense metal covered in high polished chrome. Additional accessories include a grapple hook in the shape of a turtle shell, which is pretty cool, and also the turtle communicator. Now, I've tried to open this thing up, but I'm not sure if it opens up or not. If any of you guys have been able to open this thing, please let me know in the comments section. Maybe I'm just doing something wrong. You also get 2 additional pouches specifically to put your size in, and just like the other pouches, they're extremely detailed. And finally, 2 slices of pizza. Now these are not as detailed as, say, the NECA figure or even the Mondo figure, but you know what, you still get them. Now, I might not ever actually take this out of the packaging just because I want to preserve it, but they also give you a freaking pizza box. A pizza box! How freaking awesome is that? Just little details like that make this figure so freaking cool. So here's the thing, guys, they also included another head sculpt, but it's like if they didn't include one at all, because I would never put this on any of these turtles. This looks absolutely ridiculous. Look at those eyes, they look so stupid. I wish they would have invested in maybe putting another head sculpt with the widened out eyes or maybe a different expression. But please guys, don't put this thing on, it looks really stupid. And rounding out the last bit of accessories is 6 additional hands for various poses, depending on how you want to make your turtle look. Aside from a few gripes that I mentioned before, this is an incredible figure with a tremendous amount of value in terms of everything that you get, especially at this price point. I hadn't mentioned this before because I rarely show the packaging in detail in my videos, but I have to say that the packaging here is exquisite and reminds me of the Hot Toys DX figures, especially in the foam inserts with the accessories having their own individual dedicated slot. It's very impressive, and you know what, it's just part of an overall high quality package that you get with this figure. Now before I go, I just gotta thank the folks over at Big Bad Toy Store for sending this wonderful piece over for review. Alright everybody, so that's my official review on DreamEx 1/6 scale Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figure of Raphael. As always, I thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next AGR's Pop Culture Reviews.